Alright guys, this is the cell all piped up, feeding it both top and bottom from both sides. It hasn't been wired yet, but this is the pre-wiring leak test that I'm going to do. Let's see. I'm going to fill it up. This is my fluid-liquid separator, gas-liquid separator. This is the bubbler. And then at the top is my output. Same setup I used before. It has the pressure shut off that I'll use for later things. I just put it on there while I was building it. And the pressure gauge. I do have quite a bit of residual. I don't know if you can see anything. Let me get my flashlight. I do have a lot of residual stuff. I've flushed and flushed and flushed and flushed this out. I don't want to remake it. So when I first turn it on and it flows, probably for the first 2, 3, 4 runs, there will be a lot of iron oxide, but it is not leaching at the voltages I'm going to run it at. And it'll just have to be a kind of an eyeball thing to see what it's doing. So I'm going to set the camera on the stand. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it up. By the way, I'm using 10 grams per gallon potassium hydroxide. That's pretty much what I use for everything. And it usually works for most purposes. So, see if we get any leaks other than the valve. Turn off my drain valves. Okay. It's completely filled the separator. I'm just waiting for it to flow up through the plate spacing and everything. I'm using a smaller lower hole than the gas exit port to try and give it some back pressure. Also, the design on the separator is like this. The intention is, if you look, you can see the level of the cell versus the separator. Obviously the separator is taller. I'm going to fill the separator up to just above the height of the cell, but I'm going to leave an airspace in it. And that airspace is to pressurize when the cell is pumping. When the cell turns on and is producing gas, then top of the cell, this tube, and this section up here will all become slightly pressurized, probably half a pound, 3/4 of a pound, and therefore apply a pressure on the fluid going down to keep it from backing up, so it doesn't get the ebb and flow effect that some of the guys have seen. And I'm seeing that we'll probably have to get some pressure on it to get it to flow. Well, yeah, it's probably about half full right now. Take a look down in there. Yeah, so let's add some more. It just fills really slow because the small diameter tube, it's the same small diameter tube I use on my steamer, and I usually have to sit there for a little while it works its way into the steamer. So fill her on up. Let it sit. There it is. That and the spacing between the plates is rather, or not really, really small, but small enough to make liquid movement rather slow. Oh, there we go, we get some going. There. That side, yep. Electrically speaking, I'm going to connect this one polarity on the outside and then a center tap on the inside. Nothing new on that, but there is a little bit of a reason for that. Electrically speaking, the electrolyte conducts electricity. So if you have a tap on both sides and you're connecting to two opposite sides of of polarity, you're going to get a current going around the electrolyte into the other side. Obviously, if both outer plates are the same polarity, you're not going to get that current, so you won't have a voltage leak at that point for that reason. Let's add a little bit more. And this is a test apparatus. It's not really intended for any real use, which is why I don't have a whole lot of reservoir to it. I could, if I wanted to, add a reservoir off the side over here, or doesn't matter what direction. And I could leave the top of that open air if I wanted to, and just pipe it at the bottom from a separator to reservoir, and it'd give it a larger storage volume, obviously. But get a little more, and that looks pretty good. Yeah, it has some air pockets, which doesn't really make much of a difference, because once it starts producing, it's going to kick all that out anyway. So it acts as a somewhat bubbler between the two also. So good to go. I'll put this up, and you guys can take a look at it, and we'll be testing soon.